We went and visited GYR3 during first break. I would love to talk about that, but I'll get to that. I will get to that later, because that's going to be a hell of a story. That's a story all in and of itself. But I'll tell you the most exciting thing about it. I saw the slightly older Brazilian woman that I've been kind of crushing on, and we had a great conversation. She was right where I thought she'd be. Now I think if I go back there again, I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna look like way too much of a stalker. But I gave her my karaoke business card, and I'm like, hey, give me a call, text me. So will she? She said she would, but will she? Hard to say. I feel like we were starting to connect though.
I had to kind of cut that off abruptly because my neighbor walked out as I was talking and started hanging up her clothes on the clothesline. I didn't want to seem too psycho sitting in there talking to myself in my car. Plus, it was starting to get really hot in the car. But as it was, I totally startled her because I was already parked before she came out the back door. But anyway, that was good times. So I was trying to explain what all happened with. I was going to kind of do a short version anyway of what all happened with Katrina and I last night, but yeah, we went to GYR3, and I'll talk more about that later, most likely. After that, she wanted to go home and get some sleep because she's most likely starting her new job at the warehouse they assigned her to when we went to that logistics staffing agency yesterday. She's starting that today, I believe. So she wanted to go home and make sure she got a decent amount of sleep. And we were actually kind of planning on both of us coming to this side of town, her seeing my apartment, such as it is. I mean, I've warned her what the mess is like. But just, checking out my music and stuff. And then going over to the Dirty Drummer for a bit, a couple beers and some karaoke. And then I'm going to go back to my place. And she was telling me it would be cool for me to take a nap there and then roll out from her place at like probably 4:30 in the morning. Because it's not a long drive at all from her place to where I work at. But by the time I got later, she's like, yeah, I don't feel like going all the way over there, which was fine. In fact, I didn't even, as I left her place, we had been talking about going by GYR3 to try to contact a couple of our former coworkers that we hadn't got. Actually, both of us, different people that we were sort of crushing on that we had never bothered to get phone numbers for because we saw them every day at work. And for me, it being the Brazilian woman, for her it being some tall guy that worked in NPC that I, believe it or not, do not know. The only person I was particularly concerned about that was working in NPC around the time I was let go was Alex and Katrina was saying that she thinks she has a boyfriend that she lives with. So, and I really don't know one way or the other, but I am a little disappointed that shortly after I got let go and was starting to kind of get my head together again, that when I sent her a couple of text messages, she didn't respond at all. Just because she's, pretty much always responded to my texts before. If she's already got a boyfriend, I mean, that's fine. I'm totally accepting of that. But to just cold shoulder me like that was a little hurtful, but whatever. I'll get over it. Yeah, the tall guy that she was wanting to see, I have no idea who that guy is, but it was funny because like that was something we had talked about like not long after we had got back to her place after leaving Taco Bell, and she And then we just discussing so many things, and we're looking at different employment apps and stuff. Because I mean, we're both trying to find better jobs at the time, both trying to find jobs as forklift operators. At the time, both of us have aspirations to be reach truck operators. So we've got a lot of like odd things in common right now. So anyway, yeah. And then it was later that we discussed coming to this side of town, and it was like so long after we had discussed, like we had both completely forgot that we were planning on going to GYR3 during our first break. And anyway, when I finally took off and I was planning on heading home, or probably heading to Dirty Drummer and then heading home, right as I got in the car, I realized it was like 9:05. I'm like, ooh, first break is at like 9:30. So I got enough time to get myself a sip and save drink, double back, pick up Katrina, and then go over to GYR3, Amazon. And so I called her right away, and she's like, oh, yes, I still do want to do that. But it was funny, when we got there, she was suddenly really nervous about it. So super nervous about it, and nervous about talking to people she didn't want to talk to. So she ended up sitting in the bus shelter that buses don't pick up at. That's supposed to be for people waiting for rides and ride shares. She ended up just sitting there and hiding by herself while I went. I guess I'm going to talk about everything what happened. First person I saw was Joe, the PA at Inbound that I worked with. It was great talking to him. He was, he's definitely one of my favorite people to work with. So had a great conversation with him as far as like letting him know, how I got fired. And he asked why I was there. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to talk to somebody. He's like, you get her, Dan. All right, I needed a moment to go to the bathroom, and it's gonna take me a bit to wind down before I can actually go to sleep. So I'm sitting here at the karaoke computer, where it's still got my playlist of the songs that I recently added for karaoke by Marcy Playground. I love this song, Cloak of Elvenkind, and I don't know who's ever gonna sing this other than me, but the karaoke version is on point. Like here's how the song starts. This was so one of my favorite albums pretty much all through the 90s, and still ranks pretty high with me. Elvenkind hangs in my wardrobe behind all of those things my mother said were proper for a boy. And I know I could not say why on this summer evening. Oh. And here's the Clokey-okey karaoke for it. They're doing high definition title screens. I like that. A cloaking robe of Elvenkind hangs in my wardrobe behind all those things that mother said were proper for a boy. And I know I could not say why on this summer evening. Oh yeah, this is a win. I don't know who's other than me will ever want to sing it, but I'm ecstatic to have that into the catalog. So getting ready to add one more that I got from that channel before heading to sleep. And, oh yeah, it's going to be this. Got it entered into the database. That's the software for Songbook DB right there. It'll be the first karaoke song that I've added for the Revolting Cocks. Kind of excited about that. This is totally the kind of music I've been striving to have in my karaoke library since day one. Oh yes, yes, it's a Rod Stewart cover. All right, let's see how the beginning of this. I think I'm gonna shut this down and actually add it. It's that end bracket after the 44. That looks awkward. Not that that's a big deal, it just looks awkward because there's not an opening bracket to go with the closing bracket. I do like the way he does his progress bars, whoever does Clokioki. It's pretty simple but effective. Lets the singer know when the vocals are going to kick in. Helpful for the KJ as well. She sits alone, waiting for suggestions. He's so nervous, avoiding all the questions. His lips are dry, her heart's gently pounding. Don't you just know exactly what they're thinking? If you want... Ooh, listen to them backing vocals. Nice. Perfect. Oh yeah, that's a... That really sounds on point. And I'd be willing to bet what's going on now with a lot of these newer karaoke channels putting out content like that, just what I've been reading is that sounds so perfect, but they're using modern vocal removing software. Now, it used to be tracks that used vocal removing software usually sounded pretty bad, and I've still got some of those in my library where I kind of decided that it wasn't so bad that it was better than not having the song. And at this point, I do need to be maybe looking for some new versions of some of those and weeding them out and see if maybe there are some new versions out. But from what I've been hearing from different people in the scene, and granted I'm not very involved in it these days like I used to be, but people in the scene of putting online karaoke up and custom karaoke, is that they're using AI software to remove the vocals. And the AI is really good at picking out what is a background vocal and what is a lead vocal and what is everything else, and producing perfect karaoke from it. I don't really understand how that AI works. AI it's a very overwhelming thing, and it's a topic the more I think about, the more it hurts my brain. But I do love what it's doing for karaoke. I finally have karaoke for the Revolting Cocks. Anyway, as I was saying before I had my Yoba Goya moment, and if you get that reference, we can be friends. Yeah, Katrina ended up just hiding in the little bus shelter thing in the dark. Well, I was talking to Joe, and about the time somebody came over to talk to Joe, so that made it a good convenient time for me to bounce over, and the Brazilian woman whose name I still can't remember was just sitting by herself in her usual spot, just chilling. She largely keeps to herself. She doesn't talk to too many other people, so I feel kind of special that I'm one of the few people that she really likes talking to. But we had a great conversation, and of course it got interrupted by it being the end of her break and her having to go. But hopefully I hear back from her. Because I think if I go back there again, I'm just going to look like a creepy stalker. But I really do want to hear back from her. I don't know where that would go or how that would work, but I told her, it's like, I'll take you out for dinner or breakfast or something. It's like, breakfast would be good. Oh, wait, no, that wouldn't work. And she goes, why not? I said, because about an hour before you're getting off, I'm driving in that freeway heading to Loop 303. And she's like, oh. I said, but stay in touch, please. So it's not going to be my forever work schedule. And she just took on a new work assignment at GYR3. She's now working in a department called donations that I didn't even think functioned during night shift. But donations is basically where they take goods that, for whatever reason, can't be sold. And there's many reasons that can happen in Amazon. And as somebody who's never worked in that department, I don't know all the details of it. But I've seen some videos about it on YouTube. Anyway, Amazon donates a lot of that kind of stuff to charity. And she's working in the little teeny tiny department, which very few people get that assignment. That's not just where they randomly send people. Somebody needs to like you for you to get in that department. But yeah, she said she just started there. She was training over there and really, really liked it. When I was working with her before in outbound, when I was doing TDR and loading trucks and unloading totes and various other things, she was primarily operating the robotic palletizer, and she really did not like it. I mean, she did it, but she was telling me a lot of reasons that she didn't like it. Which is funny, because that's something I always wanted to do that I never ended up getting to do. But, of course, all the random things that Katrina and I were talking about, one of them is, like, after you're fired, like, how long until you're eligible for rehire? Because I've heard it's a year. I've heard it's 3 months. I've heard it's 90 days. And she was telling me the same thing. I've heard this and I've heard this. I'm like, yeah, I've heard all that stuff too. I said, what the actual stuff is, I don't know. I said, well, I'm applying for jobs. I said, I'll probably apply for Amazon. I keep getting job offers for Amazon, and so I'll probably apply to one of them. But we both totally agreed that it's crazy that we're getting, in like, she's on Indeed.com, and I'm on ZipRecruiter.com. And we're both getting stuff because we have both of our searches are pretty similar as far as looking for warehouse work and looking for forklift, specifically for forklift work. And both of us are getting things from Amazon where it says people desperately needed, blah blah blah. We really need people. And of course we both have the same question. If y'all really need people, why are you so eager to get rid of the people that you have? It is one of those things that makes me go, Anyway, after that, we ended up going to a McDonald's drive-thru. She was really craving a McDonald's ice cream cone, and I just went ahead and drove her through it. I was not really. I still had my Fountain Mountain Dew from Circle K, my sip and save for the day, from between the time where I left her place and then realized, ooh, are we still going to go do the break over at GYR3? And, oh, by the way, my background, that's Death Cab for Cutie, as I've stated many times, one of my favorite bands. And that's Ben Gibbard in the center, who actually once, more than on a couple occasions, hung out with him. Very, very cool guy. Anyway, so yeah, she... I went through McDonald's and I dropped her off, and from there I just went directly to that's Sambo trying to get my attention, clawing at the desk behind me. I'm just ignoring him. I'm ignoring you, Sambo. I'm not doing a very good job at ignoring him, but I'm ignoring him so hard I forgot my train of thought. Oh yeah, no, I went directly to the Dirty Drummer, the bar right down the street, the Dirty Drummer. And by driving, I didn't have to deal with walking past the crazy riffraff between here and there. Even though that bar is only a block and a half from here, I've had numerous times where, I mean, shoot, I think the last time I walked there vlogging, some psychopath who was driving with no headlights on tried to hit me with a soda, and he missed, and then came and chased me across the parking lot. So yeah, people are fucking crazy these days. But saw the owner there, and I forget his name, but he recognized me. In fact, he came up and said hi to me. He saw me before I saw him. So that's probably the first time I've seen him in about 2 years. And I didn't even hit him up about, like, we had discussed me hosting karaoke there before, but at this point, like Dan and the guy that owns 414, I forget his name, his system has been in there now for years. So I wouldn't even feel right trying to edge them out. I quite enjoy them being there on Tuesday. But yeah, it was just nice to see him. Only sang 2 songs, only got 1 beer, and went ahead and bounced out. But I was thinking, I've been kind of jonesing to sing something from the Beatles since I watched that movie about the guy that goes through some kind of a weird time-space continuum thing, which is never really explained in the movie. You just kind of see that something weird happened, and then suddenly nobody but him remembers the Beatles, or several other things that are very common cease to exist. Not the least of which is Coca-Cola. Anyway. But yeah, most of the music of that song, of the soundtrack, was this guy performing covers of the songs from the Beatles, as he was already a musician, so he's suddenly he's the greatest songwriter in the world, because he's, writing the entire Beatles catalog from memory. But I mean, to the perspective of the rest of the world, it's all original music that he's writing. So I forget the name of that movie, but I highly recommend it. It's definitely one of the most entertaining things I've watched in a long time, as far as like recent films. So yeah, I've had all these Beatles songs stuck in my head. I've been jonesing to sing something from the Beatles, and I sang The Long and Winding Road, which I don't think I've ever sang before. I don't ever recall singing The Long and Winding Road at karaoke, and I just knocked that one out the park. While I was singing it, I know it sounds like I'm just bragging on it, but honestly, while I was singing it, conversation stopped. And people were just watching me like, where did this come from? And I just got so much applause, like hardly anybody got applause in that bar last night for that song. Yeah, after that, for my second song, I did Wooly Bully by Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs, which got a little bit of love, but not even comparable. But hey, I had fun singing it. And then after that, I just came home. Probably ended up being around, I'm not sure what time, because I didn't vlog, but I would say probably around midnight-ish. So consequently, I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. And of course, I worked on, trying to compile and upload more back. I'm about 3 or 4 days behind of uploading these things. So yeah. Did that, tried to sleep. I got some sleep. The important thing is I got to work today. I got to court, even though it turns out I didn't need to go to court today. But yeah, all things considered, today has been a very successful day, and I'm feeling really good about a lot of things. So, on that note, it's time to lay down and unwind and go to sleep and hopefully get a decent amount of sleep. And by a decent amount, I mean at least 6+ hours of good, solid, deep sleep. So thanks for joining me on my afternoon and recap of last night. And thanks for watching. And if you find any of this interesting or just find my voice soothing and find that it helps you sleep, because I found it does that for me. Please like and subscribe, and I'll be back with more.